Hi, this is Mitch Doan, and along with Jamie Richardson, we're your hosts of the Break-Thru Active podcast. We aim to deep dive into health and fitness that will help bring you a better understanding of topics that are of interest to you and can help you on your own journey. If you are enjoying the episodes, we'd love for you to leave us a rating on the platform you listen to your podcasts. Enough from me, sit back, relax, and enjoy the episode. Hello and welcome back again to the Break-Thru Active podcast. I have another guest with me on here today. I've got one of our fantastic members from our Adamstown gym. I've got Tim. So welcome, mate. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks very much. Thanks for having me.
We're going to talk a little bit more about Tim's journey with us. He's seen some pretty unreal results in 2022, the last 8 months or so. And then we'll just sort of take a bit of a look back at what he had done previously leading up to his time with us at Break-Thru and just find out a little bit more about Tim and share his story. So first of all, mate, we met sort of at the beginning of the year. So prior to that, had you ever done any gym work before?
I had. My wife and I moved up to Newcastle now about 4 years ago. But when I was in Sydney, I had done a similar thing to what you guys do. And I'd stopped that basically when we got up to Newcastle. So it was, I think it would be 3.5 years that I hadn't done anything. Yeah, just eat pies and drink a beer. So.
All those finer things in life.
Yeah.
So growing up, mate, like, were you ever involved in sort of sports or anything that, in your younger years?
Oh, yeah, I've done sport all my life. Soccer until I was, 17, 18. After that, I played rugby. I played rugby for a club in Sydney. Played that until I was in my late 30s. And then went back to that in my 40s, played masters and all that sort of stuff. So a lot of sport, always doing something, always, with a tennis racket, a cricket ball, everything. Yeah.
Was that Golden Oldies that you were involved in? Did they call it that when you were playing?
No, it was actually Masters. Yeah.
Oh, Masters.
So it wasn't Golden Oldies. It was like the proper rules, except we're all really old. So, yeah.
How does Golden Oldies work?
Sorry?
How does the Golden Oldies work? Because I think my dad used to play that, but I've heard of that a few times from different people.
Golden Oldies modifies the rules around the player. So like there's 70-year-olds playing and they say, okay, well, you can't tackle him and you can't do this for that position and all that stuff. So it modifies it around the abilities of the person. Where this is Masters, where it's like you've got to be, I think you had to be over 35 or over 40 to actually play in it, and then you're all around that same age group, and fitness levels vary within it naturally. But yeah. We went and played in the Masters games in Geelong, with the club there. So yeah, that was an interesting experience as well.
Would have had a couple of days afterwards where you were a bit stiff and sore after those games, I imagine.
All terrible, yeah.
Cool. Well, it sounds like you definitely have been sort of active over the years. Just before we sort of move on to, I guess, more of like, since when we met you, when you were playing rugby, was there much sort of gym stuff or specific training?
No, I hated training. Always have. So I would do everything I could to avoid training. And there was no gym stuff. It was training 2 nights a week and a game on Saturday. And yeah, if I could get out of training 2 nights a week, I would. So that was basically it. But I was younger and was able to maintain fitness and everything, a lot better. I probably could have been a lot better if I actually did go to the gym and all that sort of stuff. But it was like training to the pub, then to the game, to the pub. So
repeat.
That was, yeah.
I think sort of back, that would have been what, 90s, 2000s. You were doing that, I imagine. Yeah. There wasn't sort of as much emphasis placed on it. I actually chatted with a guy, Mick from our Cardiff gym, who used to play really high level rugby league back in sort of the early 2000s, and they just started doing sort of gym work. But prior to that, it was very much just training, ball skills. Obviously, do fitness within your training, but there wasn't lifting weights or circuit training or anything like that. I feel like that's
there was nothing like that. You would turn up, we'd do your fitness for one portion of the training session, and then you would do your ball skills and your tactics and all that for the rest of it. 2 nights a week. Right? So there was, that, and the onus was on you a little bit to do anything else, but you were never really pushed to do it.
No.
Pre-season was terrible. You'd stop. Yeah.
Well, you see it now, like even rugby players, rugby league players, AFL players, like the way that they're all built now and the way that they look, like they're big, muscly, athletic blokes. And not to say that they weren't, 20 or 30 years ago, but you can see the difference now because they do have, dedicated strength and conditioning training. It's not just done on the field. But some of those rugby boys, like you see the wingers and the centers, they're built like front rows used to be built.
Huge, yeah.
So it's
they're huge.
Definitely been a shift. But okay, so obviously, earlier on you didn't really get too much gym exposure. When you started in Sydney a few years back, what sort of prompted you to do that, sort of in your 40s?
I was getting unfit. I'd stopped. I hadn't done a lot. The sport was starting to ebb away, and you go to the docs, and the doctor says, well, your cholesterol's going up, your weight's going up, and you're eating wrong. If you don't do something, this is where you're heading down this path. And so I said, well, I've got to do something. And so I just took the plunge and signed up for a spot down in the city, and just in where I come from in Sydney, and just we went from there. And I didn't stop. It was three days a week that was dedicated, and I would feel guilty if I missed one of those days, and just built up my fitness. Went back playing a bit of sport in that time as well with the Masters, and I think played a little bit of soccer as well. And you felt better about it. Touch footy, played touch footy with the old boys from Blue Mountains. We went to Port Macquarie, played touch footy. Would not have been able to do it if I wasn't, doing the circuits and all that sort of stuff and getting fit.
It has really good carryover to sport, and that's something we hear quite a bit, even though we're not specifically training for, touch or rugby or soccer or anything like that. But just being able to develop your fitness and your strength. And I think a big part of it is even just like your mobility and your flexibility, because a lot of those injuries that guys and girls can get in their 30s and 40s when they go back to sport is that they just haven't really ever extended their range of motion, because all they're doing is sort of sitting down all day. Yeah. So it's much of an injury prevention thing as it is a way to improve fitness. But for a lot of people, that's why they like to train. It enables them to play at a high level, touch, soccer, whatever it may be.
Well, yeah, in hindsight, I wish I was training like this when I was in my 20s. It would have made my sport. I think I would have enjoyed my sport a lot more if I was a lot fitter. But I'm not saying I wasn't fit. You when you're in your 20s and early 30s, you can sort of maintain your fitness a bit better. But yeah, I think I would have been a lot better.
Yeah. Well, let's fast forward through to sort of the end of last year, start of this year, when we first sort of met and you got started with us. Where were you at with your sort of life and your health, the end of 2021 when we first started speaking?
Yeah, I was pretty fat, if I could say that, so I was probably the heaviest I've ever been. My blood pressure, all of a sudden I'm taking, I'm in my mid 50s and I'm taking blood pressure tablets, and I'm going, what am I doing? This is killing me. Cholesterol's up, overweight, lethargic, mental health wasn't too great either. And I thought, my wife saying, come on, you've got to do something, go back to what you were doing before, you'll enjoy yourself. And, I think you guys popped up on a feed, you were doing something with over 50s, and I went, all right, time to do something. And that's when I got in contact with you. And that was, you sort of you hit a crunch point and you go, okay, got to do something. And you've got to find that mental strength to start doing it. And that was the hardest thing, I reckon.
Yeah, it's interesting hearing that, because it's so common for us to hear that it's on the back of people's mind, often for years and years and years. And they say to themselves, I need to do something, and they talk to their spouse or talk to their friends or talk to their doctor, and they just can't quite bite the bullet in organizing something to get started. And we say to people that is the hardest step. It's just coming in or making that phone call and getting started. And it was definitely the case for you, because you haven't looked back. So You know, we're just starting September here now, mate. So I'd like you to share sort of what you've accomplished, you know, since the start of the year.
Well, I started with you guys and I was 112 kilos plus. And it was really hard to get going, and I thought I was going to die. I used to come home from the sessions at 6 o'clock, at 7 o'clock, and I would just be exhausted. I'd be laying on the lounge going, "Oh my God, I can't believe that just killed me." But I got better. And I don't do that anymore. I get home and I'm ready to go through my day. And I can walk upstairs again. My health is under control. I jumped on the scales this morning and I was 91.9. So my goal was 92. I wanted to lose 20 kilos, and this morning I cracked it. It's been up and down. I'm off the booze. I still, every now and then I still do it. Went to the rugby last weekend and that killed me. So there's still occasions when I do it, but it's not a binge every weekend. There's no pies. I haven't had a pie in 6 months. It's ridiculous. I love pies and I haven't had one in 6 months.
That's
totally changed my eating habits. I eat a smaller portion of healthy vegetables. And I don't eat, the meat's lean, trim all the fat off it, all that sort of stuff. My wife's really good. She sets up a meal, and I get what I used to probably devour that in 2 meals. I'm getting 4 and 5 meals out of it. So a handful of rice and a nice little vegetables and and little stir fry thing. So it's just a whole lot lifestyle change. I can walk upstairs now without puffing. So
it's remarkable, mate. You should be extremely proud of yourself. It's an unreal result. And hey guys, just very quickly, if you have been enjoying our podcast and you've been watching us on YouTube, I would love for you to subscribe to our channel. If you've been listening to our podcast, give us a follow, give us a 5-star rating on Apple or Spotify or wherever it is that you've been listening to us. It really helps the channel grow, and I would be extremely appreciative and grateful if you took a moment to do that for me. Okay, that's it from me. Enjoy the rest of the show. Whenever we kind of have people that do lose a lot of weight like you have, we want to always make sure it's in a reasonable amount of time, because if you do lose it too quick, it can be hard to stay off. And not to say, 8 months, 20 kilos, it's pretty damn good, but sometimes people want that in half the time, and that's where the longer it takes, sometimes it means it's going to be easier to sustain.
In my head I wanted it to be really quick, and I thought, yes, I can do this really quick, but the reality is you can't. Well, that's what I found. I couldn't do it. The reality of I couldn't do it really quick because my body just didn't want to do it. But I just knew I had to work hard, and I had to just keep going, and I had to just eat properly, and it came off. And I track what I'm doing all the time, and I weigh myself pretty regularly. I'm a bit OCD with how I'm going at it, and I've got some stuff going on in Sydney this last week and this week, so I don't get to the gym as much as I want, and it sort of plays in my mind all the time. I'm not getting to see the gym. I'm not getting to the gym. So that's my mindset. So that's at the forefront of what I do all the time, and it's helped mental health wise. It's flipped me on my head as well. It's been really good that way. I was struggling a little bit before I started with you guys, and that was another thing. My wife kicked me onto this. She said it's going to help that part of it, because when you were doing it before in Sydney, you could manage yourself a lot better. So it helps all categories of your life, I reckon.
Yeah,
except I'm hungry all the time.
Yeah, working up an appetite now, mate. You're doing a lot of exercise to fuel the body. But no, it's one of those things. Just to touch on your last point there about mental health, I think most people now understand that exercise and training is good for that, but typically not the main thing that they're really wanting to improve when they start. Like, it's at the back of their mind, but they're wanting to lose weight, get physically healthy, tone up, whatever it may be. Yeah. But just about every time, like what the discussion we're having now, people will notice that difference in mental health and how much change that makes. And often it is our loved ones and our friends that notice more than you do. And you've mentioned your wife a few times, and, she obviously would know you better than you know yourself, I imagine, and be able to see that change it would be nice for you to hear that, I'm sure. But It's you've just made a complete lifestyle change. Like you said, you've obviously gone from not training to training. You've cut out some of those or limited some of those, things that you might have been eating in excess. And we've spoken before about having a supportive partner and how your wife's is sort of very, health conscious and sounds like she's the backbone of your eating. So talk a little bit about how she helps you, because I really think it's important to have a supportive partner and someone who's going to be able to be on the same journey as you are.
So say that again. Talk of the
how your wife is and you are kind of working together, because I was saying.
Oh yeah, really cool. Sorry.
Supportive.
Yeah, my wife's sort of she's trying to lose a bit of weight herself. So we're sort of got common goals. She's not an exerciser, so I can't even convince her to even think about coming to the gym. So that's a whole other story. But we've changed the way we approach food. I think Nick's always been a little bit more health conscious with food than I am, but it's really I've never seen so many fruit and vegetables in the fridge. When I used to go shopping, it was all about meat and pies and anything you could fry up. Now I go shopping and everything's a fruit and vegetables, and there's a little bit of meat that comes with it, and it's not big dirty legs of lamb or anything like that. It's lean steak, it's lean chicken. There's no sausages in there, so it's really a healthy change that we've done. And she likes to prepare like a good lot of meals for me. I'm so grateful that she likes to do that. So she'll get in there and do it, and I can then package that up for I don't mind eating the same thing for a few nights in a row. So we package that up, and I just eat that easy for a few nights in a row. And she says, "This is great. I don't have to cook the rest of the week."
Yeah.
So, and it's just all healthy vegetables and that sort of stuff. I'm not a fruit eater, but I'm finding I'm going to the fridge and actually grabbing a piece of fruit before I'm thinking of anything else that I want to eat. So that's like my body's just gone, you want that, you don't want that. You don't want that piece of chocolate anymore. You want that piece of fruit. It's really weird. Never been a fruit eater. I'm doing that. So
interesting
she encourages that, and she's always, giving me a bit of a jibe if I'm going off the rails a bit, which is really good, But yeah, she's on a similar sort of thing. She wants to eat healthy, and she's trying to do a similar sort of thing.
Yeah, that's what I was saying just earlier. I think it is really important that you've got a supportive partner, because we've had times with other members, and they're trying to be on health kick and be health conscious, and they get home and the partner's got a bottle of wine out and got a pizza, and it's very hard to kind of avoid that when you're and it's not, they're not doing it on purpose. It's just how they're living their life. And it's very, very challenging, as opposed to like what the setup you've got at the moment. Your wife's, on the same journey you are, lots of good fruits and vegetables, healthy meats, portion control. But I think the most important thing is you've just found what works for you. Like you've got it down pat. You've just told me probably, 8 or 10 things that you guys do. And obviously it's working really well. You're keeping it simple. A lot of people try to overcomplicate nutrition, but you're just being able to manage it a lot more easily, it seems.
Yeah, well, I hit a point where you sort of start to plateau, and you go, oh, my weight's not going down, and I've just gone on just had a big weekend. It starts to pop up. Do I need to go and count calories and all that sort of stuff? And pardon me. And I did sort of start to do that, but I went, this is crazy. I'm going to see myself insane if I do that. So I worked out a few basic meals, and I said, okay, I know what my goal is with my calories every day. I know what that size of meal is going to do for me. So, okay, I've got a gauge, and that's all I do. I don't go counting everything. I say, look, I know if I'm going to have those 3 things over there, I'm going to kill myself for the day, and I'm going to have to work twice as hard tomorrow in the gym. But I know that if I eat these other things, that I'm going to keep myself within that sphere of what I want to do. That'll keeps me healthy, I'm still eating the right things and all that sort of stuff, and maintaining my health through my food and getting the right nutrition, as well as going to the gym and keeping fit. So it's a really easy balance there without going the whole hog and counting everything all the time.
Yeah, no, and you, like I said, you are just keeping it simple, and people can overcomplicate it and try to count calories, down to the specific number every day, and it ends up being this huge math equation. And they've got the apps, and it works for some people, but from my experience, not that many. And it's something that people might do for a little bit and then blow it off because it just is really, really challenging. And like you said, it can drive you crazy. But you've done it enough now. We've got a really fair idea of these meals are about what I need. Any variation from that might be a bit more, might be a bit less, but you're not obsessing over numbers and crunching calculations every day. But no, it's well, we might leave it there, Tim. But you're doing an absolutely fantastic job, mate. And I feel like every time I see you, you're looking a little bit trimmer. So you've come a long way in the last 8 months, and you're always a hard worker in the room. So I just wanted to give you some kudos, and it's great to see all your hard work paying off, mate.
I got to say, it is great to come to your sessions, to your group sessions. You and Brody and Rachel and Steve, and you make it a good place to come to. And everyone I work, you work out with, everyone's got a smile on their face and they're working their ass off. So it's a good little family unit that's there, and that's why I keep coming back as well. So it's really good.
Appreciate that, mate. Always love to hear that too. It's pretty good mob we got down there. We're very lucky. But righto, mate, we'll leave it there. Thanks for coming on, and thanks for sharing your story. I'm sure there'll be some guys and girls out there who can draw some inspiration from it, mate. So I appreciate it.
Cool. No problems. Right, mate. Cheers.
Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed the episode. If there is a topic you'd like us to discuss that we haven't already, please make sure you reach out in Facebook Messenger, and we'll do our best to cover it in the upcoming episodes. For those of you enjoying the podcast, we'd love for you to like, subscribe, and leave us a rating. It really helps us grow and spread the good word. Hoping you're all having a great day, and we'll be sure to see you on the next one.